Hello. It's nice to be here again, following the urge to go live. This is a pre-bedtime live. I was sort of sitting on it for about 45 minutes before the urge to actually do it came through. And I didn't want to ignore it, so here we are. I've just got my tarot cards, and I'm just going to hold these. With every free flowing live stream, it's just this desire for something, or like this deep need for something to come through, and I don't have anything formally planned, but I do share what I'm seeing, and this week has been really interesting for me personally, and it's also been interesting from a work point of view. So from like a creating content point of view, and birthing and offering into existence again after, having some time away from that. But the thing that I'm really noticing, because I've been talking a lot more specifically about the deeper thing that I do with clients and in my work, because I'm starting to recognize that, like, I sort of describe what I'm doing at one level, but really once I enter into a connection with a client, be it in a group or a one-to-one setting, like, we go from the point of which I was describing, and it goes down deeper into something else, and that something else is always emotions. Always, always, always emotions. And it sounds like the most simple thing, but it's the most complex. And underneath everything that I've ever guided, be it the 10 years or so that I was teaching yoga, emotions are at the bottom. Be it my deep passion and self-study for psychology, underneath that, the very bottom is human emotions. Understanding how we develop in our bodies, from conception through gestation into, childhood and through is emotions. And my fascination with that has been long-standing, and through my own experiences of what I didn't get, what I needed, but also like what I saw around me in social interactions. And this is why I'm starting to understand why I'm speaking about this. Like, even my signature offer that I ran, called Down to Your Wisdom, like, even that was about emotions. And so this clarity is really there, and I've just turned the dial on that conversation like right up. And today I was sharing about, excuse me while I have a sip of water. Oh, I'm so thirsty. Today I was sharing about the reflection of this pattern that we have, the relationship that we have as individuals and collectively, like in our culture, with our emotions, is such a mirror for the way in which we interact with and our relationship to the feminine energetic. And it just got me thinking, like, yes, this is a broad pattern, and quite an obvious one, I believe, at least for the circles that I move in and with the women that I work with, like, and even the men too that I know, like, we see this pattern of our desire to control an emotion, because we are afraid of it, because we're worried we won't get our need met, because of story we attach to it, and like what it means about us if we feel this and express this. And this applies to men and women. And I think I'll do another live separate about that, because I can see the difference in the way in which a man and a woman process this and need to process this according to their like design and the way that their system functions, because there is a difference. But really just noticing like how much this need to control, gosh, is just so rampant. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining live. You're welcome to stay, obviously. If you need to go, that's fine too, but thanks for being here, Carol. So it got me reflecting this pattern of like needing to control our emotions, and this need to control the unknown of the feminine force, the feminine energetic. Like you'll hear me talking about that in a number of ways, but I really use life. Like we need to clamp it down. We need to understand it. We need to know why. And it really is a disservice to what emotions are. And reflecting on one of the systems that I work with, which is archetypal rites of passage, I was very much deep in that community. It is at the core around my work, especially with women and emotions. But this is something I was really starting to see in that community and in the methodology that was being developed. Like there was this huge focus on the storytelling, even in like the process itself of like active imagination and going in and having conversations with this aspect of the psyche. Like there was so much detail and emphasis on telling the story, which is not wrong, but from what I can see through an embodiment lens, through the seeing at the bottom of it that it's about emotions, like through that lens, there was just something missing. And so much of our needing to understand why things happen, as I've been saying all week in like previous posts and things, like it just chokes it up even more, and it locks it in even more. And what I see needs to happen is the actual experience, like the actual experience of that emotion that wasn't able to be felt at that moment in time. So by all means, it's so powerful to be able to look back and see the exact moment in like great detail of what was missing, how it happened, what, like all of the great details about it. Like you could describe it vividly, but what I'm more interested in and what I see is missing is the way in which the person, the individual, is able to go back and release that by feeling the emotion, not needing to use the mind in the moment to understand what's happening, but to give ourselves the space to feel the thing, because that's the skill that needs to be practiced, not the telling of the story. And what I would see in this community is this obsession with telling the story over and over and over and over and over again. And we all know, at least people who are following me, like who've been with me for some time, we all know what we say is what is created. Spells are created through spelling, through the words that we use. And so I would witness these women at various degrees of their journey, just talking about the same thing over and over and over again, and from a victim consciousness point of view. Now, I'm not saying that telling your story isn't valuable. I'm not saying that you weren't victimized. I'm not saying any of that. So before you have your response to that, or reaction, I should say, to that, just take a moment. It's not a personal attack. It's just an observation. If you take it that way, maybe there's something there for you. But I just would witness these trauma stories being told over and over again, and these trauma bonds forming, and the person with like the most traumatic story would be favored, would be idolized in some fucked up way. And I'm just not I'm just not about that. Because that's not healing. That's not true integration. That's just perpetuating. It's almost like just looking at a wound, and instead of treating it and healing it, you're just like picking at it and stabbing at it and getting all in there and like making it worse. Making it worse. All for a little bit of attention. All for a little bit of attention. Because where there's that wounding is like there wasn't a witness, there wasn't loving presence, there wasn't whatever it was that person needed, right? And I'm going to be bold and say there's nothing that anyone can, no amount of attention's going to change it, no amount of storytelling's going to change it. The only thing that's going to change it is feeling it. And that's a journey. Like, it's not like a one and done. Because this is also the reason why, like, knowing about the trauma and telling the story doesn't actually change the fact that it's in your system still. So the only thing that's going to help alchemize this is feeling it. And it's not a one-hit wonder and you go in there and there's this corrective experience that happens. It actually is something that needs to be titrated. It is something that needs to be felt in a sense of safety. It's something that needs to be integrated through experiences. How do I put this? Yeah, experiences, resensitizing yourself in the present moment, in current experiences, so that you can strengthen it and integrate it gradually. That's why I always say this, like, work is so slow and it's confronting. People don't want to fucking do it. I know sometimes I don't want to do it. You know, I'm a human, and like my passion and devotion to this work is so rooted in my own experience and journey with it. Like, I know how frustrating it is. And furthermore, like, it's not only like feeling the emotions to heal like trauma, but it's like to create health in your system, like vibrant health. And you know, I've spoken about my chronic pain experience, but maybe this is an opportunity to go deeper into that here. Because even that experience, you know, there was a story there for sure, but that even brings us into like our obsession with the physical and needing to understand and know that what's physically going on in our body all the time. That's not feeling emotions either. That's just being stuck in that plane of the physical body and ailments and needing to know why it's painful and where the pain is coming from and all these things. Because that's another sign that there's probably an emotional imbalance. And that definitely was the case for me, is the case for me with my chronic pain. It's something that, takes time to integrate. Because deep down underneath all of my experience with that was just some really deep emotional pain some like horrendous heartbreak and grief. Like horrendous. A lot of story. But mostly this pain of being abandoned, of being left, of being unloved. And that, like, that's something that I encounter in my day-to-day life. Like, it's something I'm aware of. And this is the beauty of, like, when you come into contact with your emotions more frequently without the story, like, you can catch them. Not so much catch them, but you can become aware of them before they become a thing. Not every time. You know, it's not about being perfect. But there's definitely this ability to notice the sensation of the emotion coming. There are telltale signs, and they are often unique for everyone. But there's things that we can notice. There are patterns that we can observe and experience. And when the emotion comes up, because that wounding for me in the example I just gave, like, still comes up. It's having then the ability and the confidence to go, oh, I see what that is. Okay, I'm willing to feel this. Okay, I'm willing to explore this, and then perhaps express this in a way that makes most sense for this situation. And then finding a way to regulate and move on. And that's like so much of the information that I see on Instagram and other social media, like, platforms, like, it's great. There's lots of education out there, but there's still this, like, really subtle need to be in control of it, the need to regulate it and control, like, have this relationship, because I can feel underneath the language, like, if someone is, like, the real deal or they're not. I can touch that, I can feel that. And there's a lot of people out there who are saying good things in the name of nervous system regulation and emotional regulation. That is just another way of controlling. That's not it. It's just not. And I'm not sorry that I said that. Like, we're moving into a new era where it's all going to be about direct experience. And you may have heard me talking recently about original experience and, like, close contact with life force. And I do take it to a spiritual realm, because my understanding of emotions is that it is deeply connected to spirit. As to me, I also say it's deeply connected to the feminine, to life. And the capacity you have to be with your emotions without stories is the direct capacity you have to be with life. It impacts your health, like, physically, mentally, all of it. And it impacts the health of your relationships. And I don't know if there's a greater transformational force than a relationship. I genuinely believe that they're one of, like, being human, our emotions and relationships are, like, the most spiritual things, if you look at them with that perspective. Granted, there are a lot of people who aren't interested in that. And I've met my fair share of them, only to be called crazy and sensitive and that they don't understand me. But I know I'm not for them. I'm for the people here who are interested in these things. And so, you know, this is the depth in which I go to when we're exploring emotions. And when I say we are exploring emotions, I mean my closest clients, the women I've worked with in group containers, in programs, and the people who are closest to me. Hi. If you're joining in live, just say hello. Even if you can't stay long, it's nice to feel you in the space. totally missed like some juicy stuff. I've been on here going for a while if you've just joined. So yeah, there's just so much depth with the emotions, and it's something that I'm only going to continue talking about, because it's this confrontation that people like, it needs to be brought forward. It needs to be brought more into awareness, because where we're going in the future, energetically, hi, nice to see you, thank you. Where we're going in the future, it's all going to be experiential. It's all going to be awareness based. It's all going to be communicating from like the deeper place within you, and like knowing what drives you, knowing what motivates you. And through all the studies I've done, like our emotions, because this is the thing, like they don't even belong to us. We personalize the fuck out of them, but they don't even belong to us. They come from somewhere. The mystery, the unknown. I mean, there are books that have been written like trying to understand how the brain creates emotions. Like they still don't even know properly. So like what I bring to this area is like so much spiritual awareness is one thing, but the other is like how to just be with what is. And like that, the foundations of that, the building blocks of learning how to be with what is happening is knowing how to be, like knowing on a deep level how to be with your emotions. Like it's just the foundation. And if you're not capable of doing that, like I'm sure you can see that in rippling through your life. I'm sure. And the thing is, every single person has, not the same, but there's one or two like emotions that really fucking trigger them, really get their goat, that there's either shame about, that they've tried to suppress, or that they go from 0 to 100 in a second because it's comfortable for them. So you can't tell me that our emotions don't matter, or that there's these simple things that, we should all know how to deal with on our own. I mean, if you've ever spent time with small children or have small children, like, like that moves them. And we all, I'm sure, have had experiences where that emotional need was unmet, where that was suppressed, where we felt shame, where we felt like so unloved because we expressed or couldn't express something and it wasn't met. So the only way to integrate these is through relationship. So like it's the building blocks of our human existence. It can be the most mundane, basic interactions, or it can take us all the way through to like the most transcendental experiences. Like they are such incredible gifts. Our emotions are gifts. Hi Kristen, thanks for joining. If you've never been here before, I always just get people to say hi when they're in the shared space. It's nice to feel you in here. But yeah, to circle back to what I was sort of saying at the beginning of the live is like, and what I've been saying all week really. Hi there, how you going? If you're just joining, say hello. But to circle back to what I was saying at the start of this live, so you might want to go back to the recording when it's available, if Instagram doesn't block this one, because they blocked my last one. I had to post on YouTube. I don't know why they did either. Very strange. To circle back to the beginning is like, in the realm of the feminine work and the archetypal work that I do with my clients is that, hi from Iceland. Oh, that's wonderful. I've never been there before. Must be morning there for you. The archetypal work that I do, it's like, yes, telling our story about our experience is so important. Like, It really is. But it's still not complete if you're not able to feel the emotion. And the work that I do with my clients, with particularly like when I bring the archetypal work in, because there's different layers of proximity to me, like different ways of working with me. So the closer you get to working with me, the more that this archetypal work starts to come in, because it requires so much attention and guidance from me. And like, I do not recommend doing that on your own. Like, I really truly don't. It's detrimental, and I've seen what it does to people when they do, and then when they attempt to integrate and it's all gone wrong, they generally come to me and we have to integrate. And the thing that's missing is the feeling. And so, you know, in the work that I do within that realm, it's like going back to those places, creating experiences and containment for the individual to feel that thing, and gradually over time, incrementally, like titrate. So not go all the way to 100 and maximum feeling to push through. And that's a version of control as well, just as much as it is controlling and like avoiding it, right? So we want to move through that in a way that allows us to feel enough of it, that's enough in our system at that time, to step back from it and carry into our lives and start to see the patterns and notice where this energetic, emotional wave starts to come from, and have the resources specific to the individual and the tools to the individual to help integrate that, so that that story no longer exists, that doesn't need to be told, and a new way of relating can begin to emerge. And relating to like yourself or to someone else, be it an intimate partner, child, mother, sibling, friend, colleague, whatever, right? And like I said, there's loads of information out there. And trust me, I tried to do it by myself. I'm like, I'm smart enough. I can figure this out. I can do it alone. And I don't recommend it, because what I see is always missing is the way in which the specific information has to touch the individual. Like, it has to meet you not only where you are, but for the unique what's the word I'm thinking of? Not structure, composition, energetic composition that you, the individual, hold. And like, there's loads of courses out there. I've done lots of them, but I've always left courses, group experiences going, but how does this apply to me? Like, how can I specifically get what I need to out of this investment and apply it to my life? Because like, and maybe this is the same for you, like you're in a group field, you're having a shared experiences, it feels really powerful, and as soon as the container stops, it's like it goes back to the way it was in whatever particular area of your life that it was applying to. Maybe not straight away, but like in time, it's like, oh, that didn't really change as much as I thought it would. And I'm telling you, it's because it didn't specifically apply like directly to you. And you're going to notice this in all areas, in all industries, like things are going to start becoming more tailored to the individual. And not everyone is capable of doing that. Maybe some people don't want that, but I know this is what is missing. And, you know, the work that I did within the feminine realm community, especially the archetypal rites of passage work, maiden to mother work, like great to get women into this en masse, wonderful. But you can spend years, like, and I'm not exaggerating, years in the swamp of the underworld trying to figure this shit out for yourself. And it just isn't necessary. Like, you do not need to self-flagellate and you know, suffer like that. You just don't. But I think, speaking from my own experiences, within certain people, there's just part of us that thinks we don't deserve any better, that thinks it can't be any easier, that we, you know, that kind of thought track. And if you're here, I know you know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. And so I'm always going to point out the thing that I see missing, and this week's been no different. Because when you point out, hey, you need to feel your emotions, people don't like it. People don't like it. But I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to serve deeply the people who invite me to guide them, who want to experience, like, deep down, like, what emotion really is and how fundamental it is to our uniqueness, our expression, our connection, our existence, and even you know, to spirit, because that's what it's been for me. And I'm continually, like, blown away the deeper I go into this, you know, emotional mastery journey, because it's gonna go for the rest of my life. I'm not here selling anyone this bullshit of like, oh, you just do this 12-week course, you'll have emotional mastery. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And anyone that's telling you that, run a fucking mile. Just run. It's just not the case. But I am here. I am here to guide people who really want to create a life that's built on that wisdom. And that excites me. It really excites me. In, like, the best way, because it's not just about working with individuals, it's about what the ripple effect of that will create for our collective, for humanity. And it really touches me. So if you have just joined this, you'll probably want to go back to the beginning. If you're new to my space, have a good look around my page. One thing you'll notice too is not only what I've been sharing recently, but, like, you can see my whole process on my Instagram. Like, I have never gone back and archived anything. And maybe you can feel it, because I know when I look back, I can feel the undercurrent of this work becoming clearer and clearer and clearer through all the time, all the many years I have been holding space for people. So, you know, go look, see the journey. Like, I'm so committed to this, and I'm committed to that essence in all people. I just today posted that I'm now offering one-to-one guidance. Like, it is a 12-week one-to-one experience. So that's pinned on my profile. You're welcome to look at that. And I'm probably going to keep banging on about emotions. So if that's your vibe, and you know this is something that is close to your heart and is needed in your experience, stick around, because this is where we're going. We're going deep. I used to get that as an insult. You're so deep, Adrianna. I'm like, actually I am. I really fucking am. And I go all the way, and I'm not afraid. And, you know, I think that's one thing we can say about emotions, is that people are afraid of them because it's unknown. And I'm not afraid of the unknown. I'm not afraid. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's perplexing at times, and there's always edges. But in this moment in time, I can say that I'm not afraid to go to those places in myself, and I'm not afraid to go to those places with those who are brave enough to venture out into the abyss in their own life. So have a beautiful day wherever you are, and Thank you for being here. Good night from Melbourne.